Welcome. Today is the 2nd of June. It's a Thursday. And we're going to continue looking into the many fundamentals of cryptocurrencies. So this will be our Cryptoverse fundamentals for today. And currently, Bitcoin is sort of ranging around these areas here. We're sort of ranging between 30 to 32,000, or let's say 29 to 32,000, and we're going to see a bit of a rangy market. So was this a dud, this pullback here? Because we thought at 32k we could go maybe and go for higher levels and with these, but maybe we stay in this range for a little bit. Especially with FOMC coming out tomorrow. So these are things that we have to keep in mind, because these things impact the markets. So Friday we have the non-farm employment change, the unemployment rate, and then we have Brainard speaking on FOMC. So Friday are things that will impact the markets. If we look into Bitcoin, if we look into gold, if we look through the Nasdaq, we'll see these things impact consistently, and we'll sort of keep track of that. But we'll keep an eye on the technicals as much as we can. But it's important to see what's really happening in the background, right? So I've got a few sort of articles to go through and some tweets. So we're gonna start off with Bitcoin Archive tweet. Really good Twitter page. And what does Bitcoin Archive mention here? So let's look into this. So they mention Canadian Bitcoin ETF has been aggressively accumulating, plus 13,000. So the Bitcoin ETF scene in Canada is really picking up, and in the last 6 weeks, especially with the drops we've had in the market, it's accumulated. And if we look into the sort of daily Bitcoin things, you will realize the ETFs were when we reached the all-time highs previously. Right, ETFs were approved around, you can say, November, December time. And that's when we had the big all-time highs at 68k. So it's an amazing thing to look into these sort of like trust funds and how they build upon. So yeah, so we've accumulated 13,000 Canadian ETFs. So it's looking good on that side. So the holdings have increased. The next thing I want to look into is the Lightning Network on Bitcoin, because Lightning Network is making Bitcoin much more transactable between stores, between e-commerce, between many things. So Lightning Network is something that was focused on the Bitcoin conference and that week quite a bit. So what does Will Clement, another Twitter page that you guys should follow. So Will Clement mentions Bitcoin Lightning Network capacity continues pushing to new all-time highs despite the recent price decline. Although still in its infancy, Bitcoin's layer 2 continues to show consistent growth, allowing BTC to scale as a medium of exchange. So yeah, if we can see here, the Lightning Network is going up in capacity and being increased in its use. Despite the sort of dips in the market, despite all these dips that we see, what we need to focus on is the adoption of things, and focus on how Lightning Network builds on these sorts of levels. So yeah, so thus far, really positive news. Let's continue. Now, this was a really big survey that took place this week, and let's go look into the survey a little bit. So it reads out: investors' perception of crypto is changing for the better. Economist survey. So the Economist did a survey, and it seems people are much more receptive to diversifying in cryptocurrency assets. So investors see cryptocurrencies as increasingly useful as the portfolio diversifies, according to an Economist report on consumer trust in digital currencies. A report published by The Economist paints a bright future for cryptocurrency adoption, with survey respondents anticipating growing demands in the near future. So yeah, information was cleaned from a consumer survey completed by 3,000 consumers in early 2022. It included countries like United States, United Kingdom, France, South Korea, Australia, Singapore. Another half were respondents hailing from Brazil, Turkey, Vietnam, South Africa, and the Philippines. So around 75% of participants had tertiary education or higher and had used a variety of digital payment methods to pay for goods or services. The latter part of the survey involved 150 institutional investors and corporate treasury management respondents, giving insights into the attitude of the wider conventional financial system on the subject. So yeah, it's looking pretty positive on that front. Adoption and diversifying into several cryptocurrencies is becoming a bullish engulfing pattern on that front. So yeah, so investors' perception is changing towards crypto. Let's go more into other news and focus on Facebook. So Facebook goes full metaverse with Meta stock ticker change. So yeah, as we know, Facebook's Meta ticker is sort of slumped in price quite a bit. We can look into the Meta price here. Right, so Meta right now has been in a dip, right, from the 350 highs that it reached. It's dipped quite a bit to 193, but despite all of this, Meta stock prices has taken a beating recently, but the firm is doubling down. So let's see what Facebook has in mind. So the company's new ticker Meta will replace Facebook. The firm rebranded in October after revealing long-term metaverse plans. Social media giants Facebook made its metaverse intentions clear last fall by rebranding as Meta, and despite some harsh criticisms and tumbling stock price, the company is standing firm and changing its stock tickers to match its ambitions. Meta confirmed on Tuesday that it will change its Nasdaq ticker to Meta beginning June the 9th. The news broke via filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which stated that the change will take place before the starting of the trade on that date. So yeah, so Facebook is changing its name to Meta despite the stock dipping, as we can see here. So it's good to see this sort of action being taken from Facebook. So we'll see how this sort of comes in, and let's see what Zuckerberg said on a podcast with Tim Bailey, because I think in a lot of experiences, especially social ones where people are getting together and want to express something about themselves, you're going to want these things to transfer. I would imagine that if we make this pretty easy for it to be interoperable, then there's going to be a lot of developers who will choose for that to be the case, even if not everyone does. So I think that's going to be pretty powerful. So yeah, really bullish news there. Let's continue and focus on Binance. So Binance Labs closes $500 million Web3 funding for crypto startups. So the new fund will invest in Web3 companies in incubation, early stage ventures, and late stage growth phases. Binance Lab has raised. So these are the key takeaways from the article. So Binance Lab has raised $500 million to support crypto startups and drive adoption of Web3 technologies. The fund represents the first time Binance Ventures capital arm has raised capital from outside investors. The fund will invest in projects spanning 3 stages. Okay, so these are the 3 stages that they are going to be working on: incubation, early stage development, and late stage growth. So yeah, Binance, the in-house venture capital arm of the world's largest crypto exchange, Binance has raised $500 million to support crypto startups. And I think it's really important to take care of crypto startups, especially when they launch. When they launch and they go through their sort of phases, right? The early adoption phase, that sort of seed rounds and stuff. And then when they launch post phase and holding that floor of price action before the sell-off. These are important aspects. So I like how they broke these 3 stages down for the investment. So this is a quote from Binance. In a Web3 environment, the connections between values, people, and economies is essential. And if these 3 elements come together to build an ecosystem, that will accelerate the mass adoption of the blockchain technology and crypto. The goal of the newly closed investment fund is to discover and support projects and founders with the potential to build and to lead Web3 across DeFi, NFTs, gaming, metaverse, social, and more. So yeah, Binance is focusing on crypto startups. $500 million raised. Let's continue. So this is to basically tell where all the sort of pieces fall for Terra right now. So Terra Luna, as we know, has a big ecosystem. If we look into these images here, we can see that the Terra's ecosystem is sort of global. It has many different protocols. So let's go break this down a little bit. So yeah, before the crash of their stablecoin, understand Terra has had a lot of activity and a really rampant ecosystem that's been building, right? So privacy, social, synthetics, launch, dexes, wallets, and basically all these sort of you can say interlayers have a bunch of developers that've been in the thick of things. So since the crash, we've seen a lot of migration take place with their developer sort of teams. So it reads here. 5 blockchains competing over Terra's developers. Whether the effort are a rescue mission or a pouching competition is unclear, but it would appear that ex-Terra developers won't be out of work for long. At least 5 blockchains have extended invitations to Terra developers looking for a new home to come build on their own protocol. Each project has its own incentives, with 3 of them claiming that Terra developers had already reached out to migrate over. This comes 3 weeks after Terra's algorithmic stablecoin entered a debt spiral that ended up wiping $43 billion off the crypto markets. So yeah, we're seeing Polygon, Algorand, Injective, Cadena, and VeChain being amongst the sort of protocols that are vouching for these developers. So yeah, 5 blockchains inviting Terra survivors over. And yeah, so Terra has, as I said, many different layers, and has, you know, synthetics, it's got NFT marketplaces, it's got, you know, many different protocols, and to fill that void of, you know, drop, we're seeing all of these ecosystems take up all the pieces. So this is what's happening behind the Terra developer sort of society. Now let's go focus a little bit on Solana. Okay, Solana went through it a bit yesterday. So 18 hours ago, Solana blockchain halted for 4 hours. Right, for 4 hours, Solana was down. A reactivation of the blockchain appears to be imminent. The Solana blockchain halted this morning and has not processed any transactions over the past 8 hours. Validators have been given instructions on how to restart the chain. As such, it seems activity will soon be restored. This is just one of several outages and congestion incidents that Solana has experienced in recent months. Solana is experiencing yet another outage, but will soon reactivate, according to statements from the project on Twitter. So yeah, so Solana price fell a little bit early night, early evening, and we seen them go through another outage, right? So on Twitter, the Solana team attributed the issue to a bug in the blockchain's durable non-transaction feature. This led to non-determinisms, meaning that the different nodes generated different results for the same block and were unable to reach a consensus. Solana added that the network and funds are secure. It has also published restart instructions for validators within the last hour, implying that the chain will be back online soon. So yeah, Solana prices are down. Buy this dip, guys. But yeah, let's look a little bit further on what created this halt, right? So let's look into this a little bit. So Solana halted by the bug linked to certain cold storage transactions. Validators restarted the network after 4 hours of downtime by disabling the so-called durable nonce transactions that have found favor amongst some exchanges. So Solana network suffered its latest outage Wednesday, failed for over four hours by a bug in how the blockchain processes a niche transaction, a type of transaction that's designed for offline use case. So yeah, cold wallets. Let's look into this a little bit more. Here's a quote for the durable nonce. So Federa said durable nonce represented an incredibly small percentage of transactions on Solana until recently. The technology has been growing in popularity amongst exchanges and cryptocurrencies. A nonce is a random number used for a specific purpose. This was probably a bug that existed for a while that never really became an issue because it isn't something that people use. So yeah, we're seeing an offline sort of cold, you can say cold wallet bug that's been, indecisive for Solana, and that's what caused the halt for 4 hours. So that's the news on Solana. Let's continue and kind of look into this. This is now we know that the Vasil you can say hard fork for Cardano is upcoming this month of June, and this is a reason to buy a bit more of Solana. So Cardano ADA, should you buy more? The technical answer might amaze you. Cardano saw massive capital inflows while its trading volumes witnessed a massive jump of over 300% in the last 24 hours. Furthermore, an approximate 33.9% surge in the total value locked over the last days marked a substantial uptick in the network's DeFi activities. Unlike most of its peers, ADA was one of the few coins to bag double-digit 24 hours gains. So yeah, so why is this happening? Why is ADA pumping in the last week or so? And let's go read a few tweets. So the first thing I want to touch is this huge tweet blog created by Ada Will. Another really good page to follow, guys, if you are holding on to Ada. So they cover this a little bit and go, right now is an exciting time to be involved in Cardano. I'm seeing an insane amount of activity, and like a good decentralized ecosystem, it's hard to keep up. Thought it might be beneficial to summarize the top 20 things I personally am eagerly anticipating. Let me know what I missed. So the first thing, June hard fork, right? June hard fork brings reference scripts, point to script on chain instead of constantly reloading. Also, improvements like reference inputs, inline datums, collateral core interpreter speed increases, diffusion pipelining. Now this is the interesting one. So P2P and Gossip protocol is coming. Today the network consists of SPOs, end users, IOG relays. Latter facilitate routing between SPOs and user new nodes. So yeah, so soon enough, Solana will be competing with Ethereum in many sorts of layers. And today we have a stable coin. So DJed is coming as well. So DJED is a stablecoin, right? So today we have stablecoin like USDC bridged through Nomad, DYX, and Milkomeda Bitcoin.com available on. So there's a lot upcoming this month, and this is reasons to see bullishness. So Hydra, isomorphic state channel that maximizes throughput, minimized latency of NQ. So all these sorts of like updates that are going to be taking place in this Vasil upgrade will make ADA much more competitive and useful, and not have the crashes that we see on Solana right now, and it will be able to compete with Ethereum at a higher level. Currently, ADA is at the price range of 58 cents, right? And it's got to go back to $2 to $3. So a 2-3x over the summer, not bad. So Caroline Talling is another sort of ADA sort of page that you should follow. Really, really good Twitter page. It's June. It's the month of Vasil. Testnet is live on Cardano in the upcoming days. Mainnet at the end of the June. Vasil hard fork is a big deal for Cardano. It will improve the scalability and usability of the network. So yeah, guys, be bullish on Cardano this month. There's a lot upcoming with Cardano. So the last thing I'm going to be covering now is Chipotle. This is big adoption news, and I'm looking forward to see how this sort of builds up. But here's the good news now. So Chipotle will now accept cryptocurrencies in US stores. Right, so here's a quick take. So Chipotle will now accept cryptocurrencies through Flexa, a digital payment platform. Fast food chains have increasingly been experimenting in crypto, NFTs, and blockchain gaming, including Chipotle, which opened a store on Roblox in the fall. So yeah, so we're seeing complete adoption here. So Chipotle, one of the big sort of fast food diners in America, are now going to be accepting cryptocurrencies like BTC. So let's look a bit deeper into Flexa, the digital payment platform, because we do have a article from them, and they welcome Chipotle. Give me a second. So yeah, so they welcome Chipotle. The leading fast casual Mexican chain now accepts digital currency nationwide exclusively through Flexa, and we're celebrating by offering 10% off your next purchase. Today, we're delighted to announce that Chipotle is now accepting digital currency payments exclusively through Flexa. Now you can spend your Bitcoin and other digital currencies from any Flexa-enabled app for burritos, bowls, and more in any Chipotle restaurant. So yeah, so we're going to see simple, fast, available nationwide, carbon negative sort of transactions take place on the blockchain. So that's pretty positive news. And with that, we're going to be concluding the conversation here. And guys, overall, I know for a lot of you, this can look a bit hard, especially seeing the cryptocurrency market cap at 1.3 trillion. But realize these are dips and flows that happen when things are, as volatile as cryptocurrencies are. And realize this is the near future. I hope by me explaining all these sort of adoptions of Cardano, of of Luna, of Facebook, about Meta, and just seeing how ETFs are working, I hope that gives you guys a bit of good you can say variety of content to understand that we're going up. This is just a temporary short, and in fact I would be looking to buying things like Polkadot at $9.56, Cardano at 58 cents, Solana at $40. These prices are going to be a thing of the past in the near future. So that's me. Khonshu out. Light speed, guys.